Hi, it's Routerbob with ShopSabre CNC. We had an interesting question the other day over at the SaberNation group about how you'd make a glass door with mullions and out of MDF. And I thought, wow, that's a pretty unusual question. So I thought, well, I think I'll just do a video and show you how to do that. So that's what we're going to start with today. Let's start this out with a little explanation. What we're going to do is we're going to actually start this out and with a single tool, and it's going to be a Vortex 2205, which is a tapered bit. It's a 16th inch ball nose on the tip, and so that's what's actually going to create our shape. Before we get into that, let's talk about what's required to create that molding tool path. First off, here's the setup in Vcarve Pro, and we're actually going to do tool paths on both sides. So we're going to do a double-sided setup, and I'm just going to start with something real simple so we can see it fairly clearly. So I'm going to start with a blank that's 10 by 10 and 3/4 thick. We're touching off to the spoil board. All right, and we'll just hit OK on that. All right, so that's how that starts out. Now, to do a molding tool path, that's this one right here, you really need two pieces of geometry. Okay, one of them is going to be your line and one is going to be the profile. And I started out really by drawing this profile, so I'm going to have a drop, an S curve, and then a drop. Okay, if you take this entire size, so it's the 5/8 thick. Now here's why. I'm going to cut that down 5/8 deep. I don't want it to cut through. I'm going to come on the back side and cut a pocket in there for the glass, and that's going to cut that through automatically. So that's why I'm doing that. So you start out with this profile, and it can really be anything you want. Okay, here's something else. You're also going to, first off, when we create it, we select the outside vector first, and then we select that. And you see how this fills this out. If you look over, it says gap above toolpath. We want that to be 0. So we want that toolpath to be flush with the top. Okay, the tool I'm going to use is like I said earlier, it's a Vortex 2205. It's a really nice bit for this. It's a tapered bit. It tapers from a 16th inch ball nose at the end up to a 1/4 inch shank, and that cutting edge is about 1.5 inches. So you can get a lot of good detail, and we're gonna use that tool to start with. All right. So we go on down through here. Let's see what else we've got clicked here. Create sharp corners. We want that. In fact, let's not do that first, and I'll show you what it does. Let's just hit that and see what happens. Okay, so this is how it starts. And let's turn this off, and here's what's going to happen when we run on the machine. So it looks nice, but I don't have square corners. So what I'll do is open this back up, and we'll hit Create Sharp Corners, recalculate, reset our preview, and we'll turn this off. Now we'll preview it. Okay, so that gives us our profile. Once again, that tool created the profile that I drew, and I used two pieces of geometry where I wanted reference to, and by the way, you can see where it placed it and what the profile was going to be. So that's how I started. Okay, so that gets us started, and we'll turn this off. Okay, now, but I really need to machine a pocket from the other side. Let me show you how you do that. First off, let's go back to our drawing, and let's take this profile here and let's offset it. And I'll offset it about 3/8 of an inch to the outside, okay, and create a sharp corner. But now this is on the wrong side, so I'm going to right-click it and say move to other side. And you notice when I do that, it becomes real faint and you can't select it. Well, here's why. It's on the back side of this, and you toggle those sides by this. So when I hit that, that switches from the front to the back. So now you see when I'm at the back, only that one geometry shows up. So what I really want to do is I just want to pocket all this out. So let's go to pocket. I'll probably use a 1/2 inch tool. I'm going to go a 1/4 inch deep. We can do that one pass. Okay, and let's select that. Let's see what we get. Okay, so there's the pocket. Now you see what happened. Let's do that again. Watch what happened. Remember, we've got that geometry coming in from the other side. Let's see if we can see that. It's coming in here. Okay, so when we flip that over and we cut that pocket, that's going to intersect that other side. Now let's go back and let's reset this, and let's say preview all sides. Okay, and we double click that, and that's how we do it. So that's the process. Here's the front of it. Here's the back. Okay, we're going to have to flip this thing over, so what makes the most sense is probably when we set it up, we'll put a couple of holes here that we can flip it, and then they'll actually be got rid of. But that'll allow us to flip from one side to the other and keep things lined up. So that's the process we're going to use. We're going to basically create the shape that we want for our profile edge, and then we're going to create the geometry we want to apply it to. We're going to flip it over and cut the back out, and when we get done, we're going to have a glass door with an edge for glass. So that's what it's going to look like. Double click it, there you go. Okay, now that we have a little bit of understanding about how you create a molding toolpath and how you machine from the back side so that you have an opening to put the glass. Now let's apply that to our more sophisticated door that we're trying to create. This actually is going to have mullions in an X shape. Okay, let's look at the setup. We come back over here. Once again, it's double-sided. There's our material size, and of course I plan on cutting the outside of the door a little bit. Touching off to the top of the spoil board, which is what machine bed is. Okay, we've got our geometry here. Let's take a look at this. Once again, if we look at the size, it's actually 5/8 this way. Right? And once again, because we don't want it to cut through all the way through the 3/4 material, we're going to cut through from the back side 1/4 deep, and that's going to separate it. So that's why we're doing that. Now, what these represent are really what would be the panel openings. If you think about that, that's just the panel openings right now. And that's actually going to be cut away, but think of those as panel openings. All right, so now let's see how we apply toolpaths. First thing we'll do is come over here. We're on the front side. Okay, so here's the first toolpath. There's the second. There's the third. And there's the fourth. And let's just simulate those. So here's the first one. Okay, it gets cut through just like we did before. Here's the second one. And the third one. And the fourth one. So that really does the machining on the front side of the door. Of course, I'd cut the perimeter if I were really making a door out of this. Okay, so that's what we do so far. Now, let's go back and let's do the back side. Well, first off, let's go back and look at this. All right, and let's go to the back side here. So we switch that. Now, I've actually got some geometry already on there. All right, so that's the geometry that I'm going to actually cut on the pocket on the back side. Now, in our first example, I just pocketed the whole thing out, but that takes more time. What I really need to do is cut behind here because these are going to cut through. So that's why I selected that geometry. And if we look at the toolpath, those are all selected. We're using a 1/2 inch tool. We're cutting 1/4 inch deep, so that should leave everything fine. We'll calculate it, and there's what it looks like. Now you notice it intersected the front, so when I get rid of that scrap, that's it. So now I've created a door that's actually got, I can use one piece of glass behind it. There's the actual mullions. It's got the profile I designed, so I can make that any shape I want. But that's how you do an MDF door with glass behind and mullions in Vcarve Pro. Hope you enjoyed the video.